So, is this stealing? Like, am I a criminal right now? It's not. Let me explain what I'm doing here. You've definitely seen Robert Valley's work, even if you don't realize it. He's the one who brought you Zima Blue and Love, Death, and Robots, animated on the Gorillaz music videos, and has this instantly recognizable, hyper-stylized way of drawing characters. Long limbs, heavy silhouettes, and insane energy in his motion animation. I first discovered Robert Valley through his incredible Beatles rock band music video from like 15 years ago, and you could probably tell he's been a huge inspiration for my work ever since. Well, like, I hope you can tell. So when Love, Death, and Robots' new season was premiering last month, I couldn't wait to see his new short, 400 Boys. And ever since I saw it, I've just wanted to sit down and study his work. So let's shake it up a bit and start with a warm-up on some good old real-life paper. So let me tell you more about why I love this short film. And you know, I love short films. Actually, I just premiered my most recent short film last week. Go check out Space Date 5. Woohoo! Robert Valley is an expert at sharp and energetic designs and push poses. Nothing is soft and squishy. Characters are elongated, angles are sharp, and fluid motion feels choreographed. The colors, environments, characters, acting, and designs make this story so cool, even though I couldn't understand anything these people were saying through their accents.
These silks and angels territory and our survivors.
I love energy, and that's why I wanted to start by drawing with Conte on newsprint. It's easier for me to draw digitally, where I can undo and cut things and move them around, but sketching on paper, I'm really forced to see the proportions from my study, and I have to work a lot harder to match them. There's no eraser or undo button. Robert's line weight is also super iconic. It's dark, it's graphic, it relies heavily on the silhouette and shadows to create that form and volume. So I'm using my Conte to really carve out these shapes and see how I can blend these gradients to match his style. So when I'm sketching his drawings, I'm measuring the proportions. What angle is this line? How far is this hand from the head? How far does this other line like sit in between these shapes, you know? I'm trying to capture that energy from these studies. Yeah, let me tell you the truth. Literally every artist starts by copying. That's how we learn. And I'm not making this up. It's like literally how it's always been done. Like, let me give you an example. Michelangelo copied classical Greek sculptures Disney animators used to train by tracing old film reels frame by frame. The idea that real artists never copy is simply just not true. The best ones do, and they don't stop there. Copying is the foundation. Personal style comes from what you build on top of that. The difference is intention. Are you copying to learn? Or are you copying to fake it and pass it as your own? So I'm redrawing Robert Valley's drawings, not to like rip him off or anything, but to understand why his shapes feel alive, how he uses his angles, what choices he's making that I wouldn't have thought of. I'm drawing these shapes and adding them to my visual library. So next time I have to draw a body type like this, or an arm at this angle with this musculature, I can remember the shapes that I made here and see how I can apply it to my own way. Tracing gets such a bad rap, especially online. When you're learning, it's one of the fastest ways to train your eye though. And here's something that people don't really talk about. You can't trace well if you don't understand what you're looking at. Like if you trace a hand, but don't see the perspective shift, the overlap and the weight, then it just becomes a flat outline. Tracing is a tool. It's not a shortcut. And it works if you treat it like a study, not just like an end-all solution to all your problems. And that's the thing. Art takes time. Whether you're studying, tracing, animating, or building a whole style from scratch, there's real work behind it, which is why I get so excited when I see indie studios pouring that kind of love and energy into original animation. Like today's sponsor, Steamroller, who just released a pilot for their brand new animated series, Spice Frontier.
Oh my gosh. I can't breathe. Are we sure this is breathable?
Spice Frontier is a 25-minute sci-fi adventure. We follow a ragtag crew. They crash land on a desert planet. They gotta fix their ship before very mysterious locals find out they're there. So think Star Trek meets Parts Unknown, but the space chef is looking for the last remaining spices from Earth. Yes, spices, like seasoning, not like Dune spices. And here's the best part. Steamroller is an independent studio. They self-funded this pilot with a team of over 60 artists using Unreal Engine. No network backing, no huge corporate machine, just artists telling the stories they want to see in the world. And that's the kind of project I love to support.
Look! Are those? It has legs!
Oh, and if you want more backstory, there's a prequel called Spice Frontier, the first course, available for free on their site. So if you want to see more indie animation like this, watching and sharing Spice Frontier genuinely helps, because Steamroller hopes to expand this into a full series, and your viewership can make that happen. So watch the pilot for free on Steamroller's YouTube channel through the link below. So in the end, it's not about muscle memory, it's about seeing like the artist sees. So copying lets you live inside their choices for that brief moment. And yes, I've had my fair share of my own art getting traced and passed off as someone else's. And yes, maybe this artist was practicing and learning, and yes, that's fine. But the issue is when they pass it off as their own work. And I always end up messaging them and asking them to take it down or to credit next time they're doing a study or something like that. So, there's a reason why old masters would, literally set up easels next to each other in museums and copy paintings. It's how you build visual literacy. So let me share what I'm learning here as I'm analyzing these designs. Here's something I noticed when studying this pose. The pose is so intensely pushed. The anatomy is almost broken, but it's not. The pelvis is going one way, the chest is going another way, the head is like really tucked in weird, and the back leg is just a blob of black. But the silhouette is so clear, and it feels so good because it feels intentional. So now when I draw a pose, I'm asking myself, am I pushing this enough? Am I playing it safe? I wish I even did this drawing again, but instead of drawing like what I see, I take it one step further by pushing that pose even more. Like, how can I break this model? How can I exaggerate it until it doesn't make sense anymore? Now that's a good exercise for a good old practice. I love how Robert Valley builds his heads. It's not just like, big nose plus narrow chin plus angular brow. It's not a formula like that. It's purposeful and it's exaggerated. His proportions are like grounded in real people. Even when he's pushing the angles or using sharp shading, there's a realism and attitude. That's something I'm trying to understand and bring into my own work. The line work is very confident. Lines are mostly straight, so when he adds those occasional curves, the contrast makes them pop out so much, like the glasses on this character. The shadows are so intense on these characters, they're masking out all the details, which add tone and mood of this piece. Almost always the characters are dark silhouettes over the bright backgrounds. Each frame's a painting. Each character moment has one intense focal point, like an intense rim light, for example. The frames are so simple and bold and confident. And the colors complement the characters so well, since it's all monochromatic with a simple gradient map over it. It allows for the characters' bold outlines and silhouette to be at the front and center, with the colors just like complementing it. I'm drawing all the lines and shadows on one layer and then adding the gradient map at the end. So I'm focusing not only on the proportions of this character, but I'm thinking about the hard lines and the soft lines. So I'm not focusing at all on the clean final piece because what's the point of that? I'm choosing my focus of this study and I'm focusing on that. So my focus on this study isn't clean lines or studying the colors. Although, yes, the colors are fun to throw in at the end. My focus is on matching the proportions, the line weight, the technique on how Robert makes his shadows and gradients, and then analyzing how the structure works from these very simple lines. It feels weird to call him Robert. First name basis. So by copying this, I'm not just learning how he draws, I'm learning how I might want to draw differently. Oh, and by the way, let me know in the comments which artist is your go-to for studying their style. I'd love to know who inspires your style. Okay, so when I go back to my own designs, I can't unsee what I learned. My posing is more dramatic, my lines are more confident. Even if I'm not drawing like him exactly, I'm asking those same questions. I actually went to life drawing after doing these studies, and I noticed how much I straightened out limbs and pushed those proportions from just this 2-hour-long study session earlier in the day. It's actually crazy. And sometimes what you don't like about someone else's style can teach you just as much. I love Robert Valley's designs, but I also like texture and sketchiness and sometimes lineless. So even in disagreeing with something, I'm learning what I value and how I can apply that to my own work. So I'm not here to be a Robert Valley clone. That's absolutely not the point. The point is to understand why the style works so I can figure out what I want to steal and what I want to leave behind. So let's answer the question, is this stealing? Well, maybe in the same way a musician learns by covering a song. You copy, you analyze, you build your own style. So if you ever feel guilty about tracing or copying, you don't have to. Just be honest about why you're doing it. Credit your sources, study, analyze, and then go make something that's yours. I used to think that I'd find my style by accident, If I drew enough, eventually it would just like show up. But honestly, style comes from this kind of deliberate practice, from asking questions like, why does this feel cool? Or what rules are they bending here? And then figuring out what rules you want to bend. So thank you for watching. And you know what to do. Smash that like button, demolish that bell notification. And I will see you next video. Okay, bye.